this whole craziness. What happened was, if any of you don't know what I'm talking about, I apologize, but it's just, this will never happen again, so I have to talk about it this year. With any luck, this will never happen again. And in December, I get this phone call. We do this magazine called Music Express Magazine. How many of you use it for young kids? I'm really proud of it. It's a really wonderful magazine. We've done it for 11 years. You subscribe to it. You get the magazine, it comes to you 6 times a year, and it's just full of songs and activities and lesson plans, everything from just songs like fill a beat, or like we have drum things, we have recorded things, we have lesson plans that people go. Then, and you got the CD that's got all the songs on it. Then the idea is that you teach the kids all the songs, and then you can go to the internet or Music Express Magazine website, and I teach the dances to your kids. So they shoot you with a camera from in front and one from behind, so that if you want to, you can sit in the back of the room with a martini and a cigarette, and your kids can dance along with me. Whatever, well, maybe not, but nonetheless, so that you can project it up on the wall, and then I'll teach the song to your kids. Well, I do hundreds of these every year. I never think much about it, So anyway, in December, I get this phone call from Janet Day, who's our publisher at Hal Leonard, and she says, "John, did you know that somebody took yours and Mac's song called Planet Rock and put it up on the YouTube? And 36,000 people have looked at it." And I went, "You gotta be kidding." First of all, I've hardly ever looked at YouTube, and second, I did what? And she said they call it double dream hands. And I go, "Double dream hands? What is that?" Well, I remember I was teaching a bunch of 4th graders, and I did a move like this. And the kid said, "What do you call that?" And I went, "Dream hand." It's like you take your hand, a dream out of your head, and you throw it like that. And about half an hour later, we were doing another move, and we went like this, and they go, "What do you call that?" I said, "Double dream hands." And so that's as much thought as I put into that, And so anyway, they call, so I go on YouTube and I see, okay, now it's like 37,000 people that have looked at this Planet Rock thing on YouTube. So then I call Mac. I said, "Mac, did you know that somebody took our song Planet Rock and put it on YouTube and 36,000 people have looked at it?" He said, "Call me when it's 100,000. Well, at 5 o'clock that night, it was over 100,000. So then we started watching it, and it just got bizarre. And I went away. I was leaving in about a week. This was in December. So I was leaving to go to, I went to Africa for a few weeks, and right after Christmas, and came home, and it was in the millions. Millions of people had looked at it now. And then, well, I just have to indulge just for a minute here. You got to watch this. Can you see the screen at all?
Oh, yeah.
So then, guess who's picking it up? Now, how do I make it? Show you this. There we go.
Yeah, we could turn on those lights.
Where are the lights, please?
Stay down. Shoulder, chin, shoulder, and back. Double dream hands, and bounce to yourself. Punch again. Now point, right hand forward. Punch, crank underhanded. 2 pats, shoulder, double dream hands. Now, just like before. Crank. Stay down. Shoulder, chin, shoulder, shoulder, shoulder. Double dream hands. Rock out now. Crank it. Crack. Hands to knees. 2-step claps. Reach to the audience. 2-step claps. Hands to knees. Left jazz hand. Left, right, burst. Butterfly. Double dream hands. Freestyle. Punch. Well, okay, so that's the start of madness. Then I'll see if I can know how to do this. Then, about a week later, on the same thing, Alan has a dream.
I feel so rude. I didn't even ask you about your weekend. Tell me about your weekend.
Well, I went out of town and I sort of did some snowboarding. I had a lot of fun. It was good. There was no TV, but I had a lot of fun. It was good. It was, and then, going downhill, that was a blast. That was really fun. What else? And then everyone sort of clapped, and we had great dinners as well. They were the best restaurants, too. That was good as well. What else? It was just a fun-filled weekend. and the weather was gorgeous.
Well, that sounds great. We'll have to talk about that later.
All right. So then, it gets worse. Then I get a call.
I feel so rude. I didn't even ask you about your weekend. Tell me about your weekend.
Well, I went out of town and I sort of...
I thought you wanted to see that again.
Now this last gift, I am told it is for me. It is from my staff. I don't know what's under here, and all I know is I'm supposed to open it right now. Okay, I open it, and there is a card, and it says, Ellen, read aloud. It says, Ellen, we love you and appreciate the fun we get to have here every day, so we wanted to give you something that would make you happy. Please welcome the most creative choreographer in the world, the creator of Double Dream Hands, John Jacobson, and the Denver staff.
That was all of her staff on there that was doing that. They all were like junior high kids. They were, why do we have to tuck our shirts in? I haven't worn khaki pants for 20 years, one of your kids had them. And they all had the price tag still on their pants because they were taking them back when the show was over. And I told, so they said, why do you tuck your shirt in? I said, well, you know, I'm working with schools all the time, and some schools have a policy that you have to tuck your shirt in, and I don't want the teachers to have to argue with the kids about it, so I was tucking it in. They were like, they couldn't believe that. Anyway, and they were nervous wrecks, and then that guy shows up in those short shorts. But they were absolutely, they loved doing it, and they had practiced. I didn't have to practice with them at all. They had learned it all before I got there, and you know, just kind of. So now I'm almost done here, but it's just too, you know, bizarre for words. So let's see if I can do this. So then people start doing stuff with it. This is like a week later. You know this guy from what's that show that he's on?
So I understand you're a big fan of the Double Dream Hands.
Oh my God, I saw that. Oh my God, your staff learned that whole dance.
I was so impressed. Yeah. And you're a fan?
I am a fan.
That guy.
I mean, that guy, come on. I love there's also a video of him doing it from the back.
I know.
It only has like 800 views. He's like, I've seen it from the front. It's much better.
I
love it.
We showed it on the back because I was so amazed that he would actually think to show it from the back.
Sure, why not?
Why not? And I heard you have something to add to it or something, or you have ideas?
This, at the end, it could just be like a kickball change, sugar, sugar, kickball change, flick, kick, step ball change, kickball change, sugar, sugar. It's a little short, so we can have a coda.
You're such a good dancer.
Okay.
So I mean, I I knew from
I've
the
danced
flash
3
mob.
times since I walked out here today.
Well, I know, and the flash
mob.
mob thing too. So your dad sounds like
He's a
a
big
hilarious.
On YouTube, those of you who actually do YouTube know then that people, this is a salute to Roger Emerson. It's supposed to be.
Start with your heads down. Now look up slowly. Bring your arms up and bring them down. You're going to go up again, both arms, higher this time. Turn them down. Bring your thumbs to yourself. And down. Point your right hand from low to high. First your right hand.
And then you get the Hindu version. I've made it to the big time.
What's up, ABDC? Justin David here, kicking it with my crew. We're on the My World Tour, so are you ready to dance? 5, 6, 7, 8. Come to dance.
Justin Bieber, I've made it to the big time. Is that not the weirdest thing? What's so funny about it to me is that, well, funny or tragic, is that then if you ever go to YouTube, people are really naughty on YouTube. I had actually no idea that people would make comments. Well, if you get 3 or 4 million people looking at it, then you get about
thousands and thousands of people commenting on them, and most of them are like, the demographic for YouTube is 18 to 35-year-old males. That's who watches YouTube. It ain't junior high school girls that are watching. It's these guys, and they're away from at college or something, and their mother's not looking over their shoulder, and they think they can write whatever they want. So I'm like, the first one, I'm reading them, I'm answering, I'm going, watch out, children are listening. Children are watching this. You shouldn't say those words on YouTube. Well, they do anyway. And they'll say really funny things like the Beyonce one. Somebody's commenting, like they write like, he's not even watching the girls. Or like one place I wrote like this, reach to the audience, and they go, he thinks there's an audience out there. And another one wrote, you guys are laughing at this guy, but he's going to make millions off this thing. And I'm like, just exactly how would that work? Because right now I'm not seeing it, all the way. But anyway, it is ridiculous. And that, I'm not exaggerating at all. Hundreds and hundreds of emails. Some every day I would get hundreds of emails from all over the world. The bizarre things, people asking like, will you come to, we have a disco in northern England, and on Thursday night we want you to come to the 3rd floor and teach the double dream hands to all of our patrons there. Or one from New Zealand. This whole town in New Zealand is doing 40 hours of double dream hands straight as a telethon kind of thing for fundraising. He said, do you have any advice for us? I'm like, keep breathing, you know. No, I got a call from the Discovery Channel. There's like this show called like Wings Over Alaska or something like that, where it's like this family, they fly into remote areas of Alaska and deliver mail and medicine and stuff like that. And they called me because they wanted to use it. They were calling me from like Uncle on the Bering Sea, you know, some little town. And this town was doing double dream hands as their junior prom theme. And they wanted to be able to film it and then show it on the Discovery Channel when they actually do that version. I mean, just one bizarre thing after another. And you know, you get sort of wrapped up in it and you don't know exactly how to how to respond. I mean, I'm always sort of like, well, I'm sure they want to be nice and everybody wants to be good and kind about all of this. So then you get called, like, for instance, I got a call from VH1 Music. So VH1, I'm thinking, save the music, right? The whole thing. And I'm always thinking, if any of these opportunities come along, that I'm going to actually be able to, like, you know, talk about what we're passionate about, music education and kids fitness and, you know, the arts in schools and all of that. Great. I want to seize every moment that we have this little 15 minutes. I'm about 14 minutes and 45 seconds into it. You've got to seize it while you can. So like VH1, I'm thinking, this is great. They're going to email, they want to do an interview. It's going to be on VH1. And they said it's for a yet to be named television show, but it's about video clips that they take off YouTube and then they talk. So, and they said you'll get to talk about all the things that you care about and all that. So they interviewed me, and it was really friendly. It was really upbeat, and I thought, this is just great. It's going to be wonderful. And then about 3 weeks later, when it's on TV, I get a call. John, did you see the VH1 thing? I go, no, what is it? Well, they put it on a show called America's 40th Funniest Fails. And it was, and so then they played my interview. They played the song, and they put a big banner across it that said "failed." And then down in the corner, they had like a little puppet, a little ugly puppet with big teeth and really gross-looking thing. And every time I would say something like, "Hey, double dream hands," he would, "Oh, I'd like to see what you'd like to do with those double dream hands, you know. And don't leave this man alone with your children." Things like that. They would say on this thing, and you just kind of go, "Huh." That's not at all the experience that I had in all of that. So, and before that, I had gotten a call from America's Got Talent, which is weird. You know, first of all, never go on a television show you never watched. So, I had only seen it once. I had seen America's Got Talent one time, and it was the last episode of last season. And there was this beautiful little blonde girl who sang like a little angel, and she didn't win. And there was another man next to him that did win, and he gave her this biggest hug. And I thought, this is what it was. It was a show about showing off the greatest of American talent, and everybody's happy and excited. And I said, well, you know, I don't think I really fit that because I'm not, you know, I don't have an act. I don't want all of a sudden have a Las Vegas show based on me or something, you know, which is the prize, I guess. And they said, oh, no, we want you to come and do like a flash mob with the audience, you know, get everybody up and dancing. We think it would be really, really fun and just kind of fun TV. And I'm like, well, I don't know if I really fit that. I mean, I'm comfortable doing that with you guys or with my kids who are like, you know, kids who are Showchoir kids and all that. They said, no, it's going to be great. And I said, but what if the audience, I'd have to have time to prepare the audience myself, teach them the routine. They said, oh, you'll have time. And they said, it wouldn't be good television if the audience wasn't prepared. And so I'm like, well,
Okay, and the last thing was that it was being filmed literally like 2 blocks from, I have an apartment in Los Angeles, and it was literally like 2 blocks where I could walk over there, do it, and walk home. And I thought, okay, if I don't do it, you know, I'll feel like, okay, it's going on right over there. I could have had a chance to talk about kids and music and kids fitness and music education and all that, and I get over there, and it was a complete setup. It was just completely set up. They treated me, from the minute I walked in the door, the cameras were on me. And I'm there like 6 hours. And they never shut the camera off. So I couldn't storm out the back door. I couldn't, you know, ease out. And so, of course, the whole time I'm trying to be chipper and, okay, this is going to be great and it's going to be fun. But then I started getting the feeling they were treating me just like the other contestants. So this wasn't really going to be. But by that time, you know, and then they hauled in 2,600 high school kids from inner city Los Angeles. That was the audience. And I heard them do the introduction to them. They said, now when you like something, let us know. And when you don't like something, let us know that really loud. And so I'm going, this is not going to go well. And then they had told me that I would be in the Thursday night. They do Thursday afternoon, Thursday night, Friday afternoon, Friday night. I was going to be in the Thursday night one, which was good because it was the day before America Sings in Los Angeles. And I was going to have some friends there in town, you know. I thought, great, we'll get everybody up. Well, last minute, about an hour before, they changed me to the afternoon session. So none of my friends, nobody in the crowd that I knew that was my friend. Then the first thing act goes up on stage, and it's this guy, like a Cirque du Soleil kind of act. He like did the silk things, and he was great. He was great. It was perfect for the show, and everybody loved it. Second thing that went up was this like an Asian woman with long hair down to here who threw her hair around and had these half-naked dancers behind her, and she played Flight of the Bumblebee on an electronic cello, you know, and it was great. People loved it and all that. And then the third thing was, and now a school teacher is going to come out and teach you a dance. So that's kind of how they introduced it. And for the minute I put my foot on the stage, it was the loudest booing you've ever heard in your life, and screaming at me and giving me gang symbols and the finger and yelling and screaming at me. And I was like, and of course you're on TV now, and I've got a microphone, you know, in this hand, they're supposed to interview you. So Howie Mandel's pretty fun. I mean, he's like, I know you, the Double Dream House guy. My girls have been doing it at home. They showed it to me and they didn't. I'm like, okay, this could be all right, but even though all these people are screaming at me. And then that other man, whose name shall not be spoken, said, he said, well, what are you doing here? And I went, well, I said, they invited me to come because I did this thing on YouTube, and everybody said called Double Dream Hands, and, well, what's your talent? Well, that's a stretch, I have no idea. Actually, I said, you know, well, I think it takes some talent to be a good teacher, you know, and all of that, and so I guess that's it. And, you know, we thought it'd be fun television to get everybody up and dancing. Well, just do it, and let's get on with it. And I go, okay, everybody, you know. And I've got one microphone in this hand. So finally, I'm just like, roll the music, let's go. Well, we start rolling the music, and some people start dancing, you know, I think feeling so sorry for me, but mostly they were just screaming at me. And then, first of all, Pierce then buzzes me right away. And then Sharon Osbourne kind of goes, oh, I guess I better buzz him too. And but Howie Mandel's dancing all over there. And then Pierce reaches over and buzzes Howie Mandel's buzzer. So then, you know, everything stops. And Pierce goes, well, that's the most annoying thing I've ever seen. If you were my teacher, I'd just be so annoyed. And I said, if you were my student, I'd send you to detention. But of course, they didn't put any of that on TV, you know, they just kind of get me out of there and all that. But I'll tell you, I learned a great lesson about it. I mean, besides don't go on television that you've never watched, is that, and I never actually believed that thing about any publicity is good publicity. I don't think, you know, George M. Cohen always said, I don't care what they write about me, just so they spell my name right. I don't necessarily buy that, but I think almost any situation you can learn from it, obviously. I mean, I'm old enough that it's not going to ruin me just because some man buzzed me on, you know. It's a little different when it's millions and millions of people watching you. But nonetheless, I think what I gleaned from it is that it's a lot of what Roger was talking about and writing about this morning, I think. It's nothing more than adult bullying. Is what it is. And it's happening, it's pervasive in our society. It's pervasive definitely on television, certainly on YouTube, and in our schools and in the rest of our world all the time. And it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable. And I think in the end, you know, those people need to be taken to task. And so do people on YouTube, and so do teachers and people who think that's funny. I don't think it is having a good time at somebody else's expense. And I think we've been way too accepting of it, all of us. We kind of, boys will be boys, you know, kids will be kids, this is what they laugh at. No, we didn't do that when we were growing up, and that's not being old-fashioned. that you say that you don't make fun of people, that you don't do that. And when adults, on the highest rated show for the summer series, when adults treat people like that on national television and it's okay, then why in the world would we expect kids in school to not think it's okay? Well, it's not okay. So I guess if nothing else, America's Got Talent has just given me a new crusade. And it's to say that we need to be kind to each other. One of you take over. You be on YouTube next year. I'm going to the bottom. But nonetheless, we will have an opportunity, I think, we have an opportunity all the time to embrace that message and to say, this is what, we're not going to put up with it. And if Double Dream Hands is not the key to world peace, at least we'll take one step toward it, you know, and we'll see what happens. Anyway, that's enough. It was hysterical, and it's been, I'd say, about 60% fun. So, you know, yeah.
The AT&T thing.
Oh, the Sprint thing that happened. Well, then I started getting a lot of phone calls, actually, and emails from different companies who wanted me to do commercial thing. They wanted to use it for a commercial. They wanted me to do a commercial, that kind of a thing. But several of them were like for things like, well, one was somewhere down in Florida. They wanted me to do like a fast food fried chicken kind of, I don't know, Double Dream chicken wings or something. But I kind of just made the decision myself that I wasn't going to do anything that was antipathetic to what I have lived my life trying to emulate. I didn't want to do, you know, the fast food thing. I didn't want to do stuff that I feel is harmful to kids in the long run. So Sprint, there were several of those. But when Sprint came along, it was like, well, that doesn't really harm anybody. And what I loved the idea of what they were trying to do, the way they explained it to me, was that we are so connected by the internet, connected by all of these different, our PDAs and our system and all that. And look how wonderfully powerful it can be to bring people together. And to show how powerful the internet was. One thing, that part of the campaign was to give a band that didn't have a name, a new name. There was a lady that was turning 100 years old, and it was how many emails can be sent to her. That was all part of the same campaign. And the third thing then was me, and it was, okay, let's make this one-hit wonder, you know, more than a one-hit wonder. So they called me and asked me to write a new song, because their whole thing was they had a cell phone that had 2 screens on it. And so they wanted on the top screen to have Planet Rock, and then they wanted on the bottom screen to have something else. And I guess you're supposed to be able to like watch both at the same time and drive and have a hamburger or whatever. You know how everybody is these days. But anyway, so they called. So I wrote another song called Funny Feet. And they said, we don't want to tell you what to do, because what they loved about Planet Rock was that it was organic. You know, it was just sort of, it's real, it's genuine, this is what we do. And they wanted it to be that. But they did say, but it would be good if you could have a move in there called Double Dream Feet. So that it would be sort of thing. So, you know, Double Dream Hands is, so Double Dream Feet is, that's it. Went to your feet at the end. So they really wrote this song called Funny Feet. And you know what? It was the other experience exactly. It was a wonderful experience. It's the same advertising company that does all the Got Milk commercials and the Chevrolet commercials and the Tostitos and Doritos, a really high-class San Francisco-based company. And in fact, after we had filmed it was on TV and all that, they flew me up to San Francisco one day because they had their annual meeting, where like 1,000 of them in an auditorium, and they wanted me to do the Double Dream Hands. And I thought, this is going to be just like America's Got Talent. But they had been so kind to me and all that. So I went up there, and it was wonderful. And they were just so excited. All these, like, you know, hip San Francisco young advertising executives, 1,000 of them. And they're all up there going. So that was really, really great. And then they just invited me down what day was that? This last week, Roger. I was in LA. They brought me down to LA last week, and we did another one, another commercial actually, which is going to be shown in movie theaters. And I don't know exactly what it was because it's done in 3D. It was shot in 3D. So I'm not, but it was Sprint again. And the whole idea is that this guy's walking into a movie theater and he's got his PDA in his hand, and the ticket taker stops him and says, sorry, you can't go in there. And I think the 3D part is around his head is like a Twitter account, a Facebook account, showing that all these different things that he can do, they're his friends and his Facebook friends. And so he has to turn to all of them and say, sorry guys, you can't come in here. I'll be back in 2 hours. Go over there and play with Double Dream Hands. And then the camera goes over to me, and there I am on a dance machine, you know, one of those dance machine things. And all these critters come over and dance with me. I guess that's what it is. We'll see when it finally comes out here. So, you know, I do kind of think you just gotta go for it, embrace it, and see what happens. But I'll be a little more cautious on some things, but not very often. You know, I'm 54, who cares? You know, when you're 20, you worry that everything you're going to say and do is going to follow you around for the rest of your life. And you're older. Now I'm 54, it's like, I don't got that much time left anyway, I'm going to go at it. So, anyway. So, of course, then, let's get back to selling things, because I just want to tell you, because I'm going to talk to the kids a lot about some of this stuff during my session today at 1:15. So, consequently, another email that we got from a lot of people really was, and these would be non-music people, would be, don't you have, like, this is such a fun workout. The Senior Citizen Center even did a video on YouTube about workout. So I took 8 songs like that, like the Double Dream Hand songs, a lot of them that Roger and I did, and like Cha-Cha-Cha Boogie, and the Feel the Beat one, and all that. And we reshot them and put it together into like a workout video. And it's really, it could be for schools necessarily, but it's really, they're kind of targeting for families and people to do at home with their kids. So many people send me emails of a grandma doing Double Dream Hands with their child and stuff like that. So we put like 8 of them together, and I did a little workout video called Double Dream Hands, Songs for Fun and Fitness. And then I had, a few years ago, I wrote a book called A Place in the Choir. Yes. And I had just finished a new one about like that. Sort of chicken soup for the soul for music teachers, basically. I had just finished one, and I didn't have a title for it. Well, guess what the title is now. So anyway, that should be out in about a week. I have a new book called Like a Place in the Choir, if you haven't seen that, and it's called Double Dreams, Living a Life of Glee, Harmony, and, oh yeah, jazz hands. So that's going to be all I cover. So there's good stuff that comes out of it. So, anyway, I started to tell you that at the beginning of this year, and in January, I got a chance to go to Mali. Have you been to Mali? In Mali, they have a thing, a festival of the desert, a music festival out of the desert. It's kind of like Burning Man, if anybody's ever heard of Burning Man, where you go in the desert and you sleep in the Sahara. But here they have, it's music, and they started this about 20 years ago, and all the tribes would put down their weapons and come together in friendship and make music, and they've been doing it ever since, out in the middle of nowhere, outside, miles outside of Timbuktu, believe it or not, which is really something. So I got to go there, and it was a really rewarding experience. Of course, it was Festival of the Desert in Mali. The friend that I went with said, "You told me it was the Festival of the Desserts in Bali," but nonetheless, so I came home with a few new African moves, and so Audrey Snyder had sent me this. You got in your packet there a song called Amani that Audrey Snyder had written.